Hello, everybody.
Hello, guys.
Hello, hello.
We are here for our final day of streaming. I don't see it streaming yet on mine, but
Yeah, we're live
oh, I
streaming.
see it now. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just have to go and change mine to public. Oh, goodness me, guys. Last day of live streaming and being able to have these live classes for you guys. It has been, good morning, Tim. Wonderful to see you here. It has been like a really great week, though. I mean, it's been nice to have you guys here for all of the classes. And just, actually yesterday after the classes were done, I was like, it felt really good to be able to give you all those lessons on divergence and just be able to give y'all some more information about the course and such. So it's been really nice. So I know there might be some new people in here, there might not, but just to go through it all, we're going to introduce ourselves again. And so I am Lindsay Duff. I'm the founder here at Responsible Day Trading. I have been in this business for about 17 years. And, the whole reason I came up with the name Responsible Day Trading is because I saw so many people being extremely irresponsible in the market. And a lot of that wasn't really, I don't want to say it was their fault per se, because a lot of it came down to the training that they'd had or just lifestyle choices that they didn't even realize was affecting their trading. So that's where Responsible Day Trading was born. And Jason, it was my the first person to come on and work for Responsible Day Trading, and he is our head coach. So if you want to tell him just a little bit about you, Jason.
Yeah. So, yeah, just a little bit. My name is Jason Jordanella. I'm head coach at Responsible Day Trading. I am from London, UK, and streaming from London at the moment. So yeah, as Lindsay mentioned, I was a former student of RDT and some other academies also before I went on to become a consistent trader. And I'm working with Lindsay now, supporting the business, and working with you guys, coaching.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. And Cesar, you want to tell them a little bit about you?
Sure. My name is Cesar. I've been in this business for at least, I think, 3 years. And last year, I came across with Lindsay and the scholarship video. So I was lucky enough to be the winner of the VIP. And I've been so happy since that moment because I've learned a lot. It changed the way and the perspective that I was looking at the market. It has helped me grow. And after I finished the curriculum as a student, I went to the seminar, and I was even luckier because I was accepted as a part of the team, and I've been helping them since then with the English curriculum, and now we are working on the Spanish curriculum that we are about to launch the end of this month. And I'm super happy to be here and super happy to help in any way that I can.
And we appreciate you both being here. One of the things that we realized is there was a big need for the Spanish curriculum, and we had been talking about it for a long time, but me not being a native Spanish speaker or being a very good Spanish speaker in that case was not able to do that on my own. So we did have Claudia and Cesar and Davis, who have, and Dan and Jason and Angelina and I were remaking all of the course in English, and they're just a little bit more bite-sized pieces of the curriculum. The videos that I had before were more like 20-30 minutes long for some of those, and some of that I admit it can be hard to digest. You know, your brain can get a little tired hearing all that information. So we made it more digestible and also made it easier to translate. So in that way, they could have much shorter scripts to follow to translate into Spanish. So, and it's all coming out very, very soon. So I know I've been saying that for quite some time, but I mean it now. Okay. So
we're nearly there. We're nearly there.
We
What's
are
that?
there.
How
We
much,
are there.
how much work is involved in it, you know. You can't really, you know, determine what's involved until you start getting into it. And
Yeah.
yeah, if you want to do a good job and you really want to deliver a good product, I would love to know how many. It's hundreds of hours of work basically we put
Oh,
into.
absolutely.
So looking forward for that big release.
Yeah, because we just want to
Celebrate.
make everything more, like I said, digestible. You know, the first thing was, okay, well, we got the PDFs done. Well, now we need to make the videos. Well, now we're realizing that sometimes the words, like we were showing yesterday in the Epic Pen, sometimes the words are hard to connect, especially for new people. Just reading the words, well, what do those words actually mean? So then we had to do a layover of pictures to make it even easier. And then homework videos. What's that?
Dan, the market and find all the examples.
Yeah, yeah. And Dan has spent many, many hours going and finding all the examples for us for those type of things. And it has, I think it is a rewarding thing to do, but it is definitely taxing at the same time.
Yeah.
So
Another reason,
okay.
another
go
reason
ahead.
we did that, I was just going to say, was because, you know, the curriculums are very similar, but it's also been updated as well. So once,
Yeah.
you know, once we released the original curriculum and it was out there for a couple of years and students were coming on board, we started to get feedback from people, you know, from yourselves with, we were able to, you know, observe certain things we could do to improve the delivery of that information, or little things that weren't quite right, that people were not understanding, so required a extra information or extra explanation. So we really sort of listened to you, and then, you know, went ahead and improved that curriculum to the point where we think it's, you know, it's going to be perfect for everybody, and you should have no problems understanding it, the ins and outs of all of it, and less remedial work for us with homeworks as well. So, you know, it's a win-win. And we actually got a lot of requests from the Spanish side, a lot of requests from people who, you know, that really gave us the reason to create a Spanish curriculum, because people from South America, from Central America, Spanish-speaking countries were really keen to learn, and we just didn't have it for them. So now we have, so it's going to be amazing.
And you guys coming into the scholarship will be the first ones into that, really. So and we are going to do a little bit of a section by section release, because we're just finishing up the homework reviews for the remaining sections. So and it'll be wonderful to hear your feedback on that too. So any feedback you have going through that, don't be afraid to tell us. If you say, hey, this doesn't make sense, and that makes us realize, do we need to make some changes, or do we just need to, you know, help you out to understand it a little bit better? Because that was what was happening. You know, when people were going through the homework, I was seeing the same things not being understood. And I thought, well, you know, and I was having to change the way that I taught it in order to make sure that people understood it. So it wasn't one of those things of what's wrong with you. It's like, what's wrong with me in the way that I taught it? Let me change this so it's easier to understand. And so all that helps. And we do make changes and updates and things like that based off of, you know, how we see that you understand it and your feedback from it. So just letting you know, I'd love to hear that.
We got a question from Tiru, Lindsay, about what screen size are you using at the moment? This display that he's looking at.
This is my laptop screen. Is it too small? Oh, there is none today. Yeah. I'm waiting to hear from Oh, yeah. Well, not, I think that's why my mouse probably looks really small to y'all. I don't know if the small, now I have like a much bigger screen at home. I've actually got 2 stacked screens at home. I don't remember what those are called, Jason, but yours is,
Well, your stacked screens,
those are big and those are way bigger than this
they're
monitor.
like they must be 32 inches. And you won't see them on the, in your regular stores. They're a new design
Got it from like not a GoFundMe, whatever that stuff is, that thing is,
Kickstarter project. Yeah.
Kickstarter.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
pretty amazing screens.
I got one for you, but I don't know how I'm gonna get it to you.
I'm hoping
now.
to get my hands on them. Yeah. Well,
Yeah, so my laptop is like what is it?
Yeah.
It's like a 15-inch.
yeah, he's on a 15-inch. So what, you're only on, so are you only on one screen? Is that you're asking Tiwu about
Yeah.
setup question? Do you just have the one screen like your laptop and no USB monitor or external monitor?
I mean,
Yeah.
look, I'll just show you. Oh no, you can't see it because the blurred out, but this is my laptop screen, and then I have another one that's just connected over
Yeah.
there, but I forgot
So
I've got the blurred background.
She's
So
got these I want to say strap-on type screens.
snap on.
Snap-on, that's it. Sorry. Snap-on type monitors that go on the side. I also, so I've had different setups. When I was doing a lot of traveling, I had a 15-inch monitor, 15-inch laptop, and 2 Asus 15-inch USB portable monitors that just work off USB power, and they're really good.
These are called Sidetrack, and it was like the Asus, but it meant
now I'm more home based. I've got a 32-inch one screen, and I've got a laptop to the side that's feeding that. So I've got 2 screens really, but for trading I just use the 132, and that's perfect for me. The laptop's just for checking out the news or whatever. External monitors are, I don't think I could just trade on just a 15-inch laptop.
And I travel with these monitors everywhere. You'll be able to see it here, but like I just have, and they're so lightweight and very just magnet snaps on the back. I have 2 of them.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah, I love them. Oh, that's true. I have the 4K resolution, which is why I can fit more on the screen.
That helps as well if you got 4K.
It's like a gaming laptop. I mean, I don't game, but I have, I wanted the best I could have for trading. So that's why
you got game in the markets though.
Yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and get started, guys. I know we're running a little bit behind on that, but that is fine. So first things first. Well, first things first, are there any other questions before we move along? Is everybody good to go?
I think we are.
Nobody saying anything, so I'm guessing that's a yes. All right. Okay, so normally we would start off with the news. There was no news today for Friday, so no reason to even look at that. We had looked at it already twice this week. There's no news, so we're just going to go ahead and move on to the market. So this is our daily chart, and so our daily chart, as you know, only creates 1 bar a day. Excuse me. Now, earlier when we were looking at this, it did have a little bit of a different look, which is one of the things I love about this, that, it can change very quickly, and you just got to pay attention to know what you're looking for. So we did see the price come up to the EMAs. It has come down with quite a bit of strength so far. What I was first looking at is the fact that the MACDs had barely moved to the downside. Let's just move this back 1 so we don't even see today's. We'd had this big push to the downside in the price, and this is all we had seen in the MACDs, which is a kind of divergence that we call retracement divergence. But as you see now, as this bar is creating, we are starting to get a little bit more distance between these BBs. Now, I do have a little bit of anticipations of some divergence trying to show itself, at least seeing the potential for divergence. as this price is coming down to equal this previous pivot point. Because if you remember from the lesson yesterday, divergence happens when the price, or the potential for divergence happens when the price reaches the previous pivot point and the MACDs have not made it to that previous pivot point. And right now, those MACDs are way up higher than this pivot point down here. Also, something else to look at is that we have a lot of separation between these Bollinger Bands. And with a lot of that separation between the Bollinger Bands, it means it's going to take a lot more work for it to get down and cross it. Now, if we look at like this area right here, okay, when it pulled up right here, and it started out with a lot of problems crossing the band, and you can see it just held out for a while there. But as the bands pitched closer and closer together, it was easier to cross to the opposite side. So what we're looking at is the fact that we still have a lot of space between these Bollinger Bands, which tells us it's going to be a little bit of a problem for it to cross and come down and equal this previous pivot point. Can it do it? Absolutely. It absolutely can do it, but it's going to take a little bit of work. We did have some weakness going to the upside. We did get inside of the bands. And here's another thing to think about, guys. This is the daily chart, right? So even though this bar is closing towards the bottom of the bar right now, it's 9:15 in the morning. We've been open for 45 minutes. This BB, even though it's showing separation, could very easily come back, could even turn blue and move to the upside by the end of the day. So we don't want to base all of our moves today off the fact that right now it's closing at the bottom. And right now we have strength in this. And that's why we just look at the daily for an overall instead of looking at the daily for the, for our trades throughout the day. So I'm going to pull this daily chart off. Does anybody have any questions over that? If you're good, everybody give me a thumbs up. Or a good, if you don't know where the thumbs up is. Good to go. Okay. So we're going to go ahead.
A Facebook user said, so we still need to look for weakness.
They said, so we still need to look for weakness. Well, we're not looking for weakness, but what we would be looking for in a smaller picture with this daily chart, if we were expecting it to create divergence, the weakness would be pulling back, or the weakness would be these BBs starting to roll to the upside and this close moving towards the upside instead of to the downside. So right now it's still showing potential for more down, because we are below everything. We haven't created divergence. We haven't even made the potential for divergence until we reach this bottom pivot point. So right now we do still see direction to the downside, but with the potential for some change if these MACDs stop pushing to the downside and don't make it down here to equal this previous pivot point. And if it doesn't make it down there to equal that previous pivot point, which may be days from now, right? Because we're only moving one bar and one BB at a time. So if it doesn't make it down there, excuse me, then we will see some divergence and see the potential for this to, at the very least, pull back towards the EMAs again that are starting to cross over. Are there peach horizontal lines on the charts, previous pivots of interest and our daily highs and lows in previous days? They're basically just the previous pivot points. So they are, and the ones that are thicker, big yellow ones, those are ones that were much harder to break through. So that's actually part of the lessons that we teach and how to go back on the 10,946, the 4181, the 28,657, and look at where these bigger pivots happened. We don't put them necessarily on the 610 or the 233, because at that point, they start getting closer and closer and closer, and pivots are all over the place. So we're looking at where the bigger main pivots have happened. So good question, Tim. All right. So next, we're going to have Cesar talk a little bit about the 28,657, which has changed since we talked about it earlier.
Yeah, I was looking at that.
I'm not sure if I get, let me make sure I can give you remote control. Okay.
I can request it. Yeah. Okay. Can you see my pointer?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So what we're seeing right now is, oh.
Yeah, it does that.
Sorry.
Ever
Can
since Ninja Trader updated to this, whenever I grab down here in the bottom, it like pulls it all together. So if you want to push it to the left a little bit, yeah.
Yes. Okay. There we can
That's
have
good.
a
Yeah.
better vision of it. So when we were talking before the live, we were seeing that the BBs were pushing to the upside, and also we were in this point of the price also pushing to the upside. But we have to be aware that we are still below the EMAs and below the zero lines. And we can see, I'm gonna zoom in a little
I'll
bit
tell you,
more.
it happens every time I grab that. I don't know why. See, I don't know how to change that. Hold on
Okay,
really
we'll
quick.
see
Let
it.
me open it up for you a little bit more and then you
Thank you.
can, no problem. That good?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. And then you'll just have to click on the screen again.
There.
Okay.
Okay, so right now, as we were seeing before, we have this strong trend to the downside. We can see the EMAs with strength opening up to the downside as well. We are below the zero line in the EMAs. We can see these dark BBs pointing as well as to the downside. What we can see also is that we have this divergence, confirmed divergence, because we have this pivot in the MACDs, and we have the price going over the previous pivot of the price. So now we can see this divergence, even though it could, the price return to the upside. We have to be aware that the overall trend is going to the downside. So we potentially could take a long around here, this area, but we have to be careful when to exit, because we could take some profits from operation right here, but in the overall, the price probably is going to continue to the downside, because we can see a lot of strength. We can see these bars right here that are showing strength to the
Mhm.
downside, because they are not even hesitating to go down. And the BBs are still are reaching to the bottom of the Bollinger Band. So as for right now, we will be waiting for the price to see if it comes back up and continues to the downside, or if it's going to bounce here in the Bollinger Band to change direction.
Yeah. And so this is actually a really good example of what we talk about with like the potential for divergence. We don't see that divergence happen until it starts to make the turn. And you can see exactly what we were expecting. It pulled down to that bottom Bollinger Band and it pushed up. But we know we have a strong market to the downside. So we want to just pay attention to how far it's going to push up. But sitting at that bottom Bollinger Band with the divergence between the pivots is a pretty good indication that we're at the very least going to get a pullback. We do want to, for divergence, we do actually want to see it start to pivot in order to anticipate that, because the BBs are still purple and they can still push down further if the market's going to do whatever it wants to do. We just have to pay attention, so but that's a very good analysis. And one last thing, with divergences, it really depends on how strong the market is coming at it too. So we want to pay attention to the fact that we do have a lot of strength to the downside between the 28,657 and our other charts here that say, hey, just be careful if you're going to take that trade. All right, Jason, you're up. You're muted.
Okay, so
And just remember to ask for remote control, I think. There
got
you
it.
go. And just click on the screen and you're good to go.
Okay, so looking at our free chart setup, it's our normal trading chart setup here with a 10,946, 1597, and 233. Starting with the 10,946. Yeah, just looking at, we're all talking about the strength of that move, and you can see it a lot more clearly on these charts here on this 10,946. And just look at some of the size of these bars. Well, I just mentioned how do we know this is strong? You know, like maybe we can point out how we actually identify that. Well, the fact that we've got these really big, strong bars moving to the downside, we've got really weak retracements. They're not really pulling back too far. That was a bit of a bigger one, but it quickly failed and continued. You know, look at this move here. We've not even had a retracement yet. It's still pushing to the downside. On top of that, we have really good sort of air gap or a distance, you know, between the price action and the EMAs, which is another indication of significant strength. All of these closes, look at these recent bars, they're all closing low to the downside. That's just selling pressure, lots of selling going on. Nobody's brave enough to buy at the moment. And then you've got the strong angle of the price action, the strong angle
I
of
bet
the
there's people
EMAs.
brave enough, but, but they probably
Well, they get run
upset
over
with themselves.
a lot of the time. Yeah. So if you're brave enough, well, I often am one of those brave folk out there. But you've got to know, you know, when is the right time to, you know, it's a higher risk trade if you're trading in the opposite direction, especially against some sort of strength like this, mega strength. You really need to be get that extra confirmation that we found a bottom, you know, and we're bouncing before you be looking for, in my opinion anyway, this is obviously my perspective, the way I trade, but I'd like to see a bottom and some confirmation that, you know, this may be the bottom with things such as divergence, as we're seeing across these pivots at the moment, strong color change. We want to see maybe a push up and then a pullback with some retracement divergence, for example. All of these things is what I want to see before I'm going to be confident to go long, right? Obviously, we're looking at the higher time frames as well. So we're looking at support areas that I noticed on the higher time frame that we are approaching a retest of the support area. We bounced off of it once. This is like a retest now as we move towards that. You saw that on the 28,657 or on the daily. You could see that we bounced once off a significant support area. So we put all those things together. It's not just, you know, that one perspective or getting, you know, too focused in on just immediate price action. So right now what I'm seeing is a weakening on the MACDs on the gradient. So you can see the color change here, right? It was dark, which is strong. We've broken out of the Bollinger Bands. We did have some good distance between those BBs, and they are getting shallower, or they're closing up together, these, as we move through this area here. And then we're getting the strong color change here as we move to a solid white. Alongside that, we've got the divergence there, which, you know, with a market this strong, divergence could be broken. This just could pump to the downside and break through that support area I mentioned on the higher time frame. But having said all that, I'm not somebody that wants to get into a short trade this far into the move. At this point anyway, I'd like to see a nice retracement here, maybe, and then get back into a short, something like that. But, you know, I'm always a bit skeptical about getting into these positions late. I like to be in here, somewhere over here before the breakout, if I can. So there are always opportunities to scalp in the opposite direction, for example, right? We could just get a little snapback, but we need to have realistic expectations if we're going to take a trade in the opposite direction. What that means is, you know, we don't expect it to go through long. We get in, we grab a couple points, we get out, and we let it keep on gunning to the downside, you know, until, you know, you get the opportunity to get in line with the market, which is ideally what you want to do. Why? Because it's going to be a higher probability trade if you're staying aligned with the sentiment or the momentum of the market to the downside, and it's a low probability, higher risk trade if you're going against it. Okay.
Yeah,
I know that
and
was
something I wanted to say about that too is, These BBs we're starting to lose a little bit of the whiteness, and we're starting to turn a little bit more purple. And with these closes at the bottom, and the fact that we couldn't really get back above the 0 line, or the EMAs did tell us that we could see these pushes to the downside. I'm with Jason in the fact that, I'm getting too close to an area of support. There's too many things that says, just hold on right now to take the short, but also don't take a long.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I have a feeling that Cesar would take those kind of trades whenever it pulls back into this area, because
continuation trade. Yeah.
Well, and that's one of the good things about what we do here, right? So if there may be things that I'm not comfortable with taking, but it does have the opportunity for those moves, and it does have the opportunity to have lower risk. But I'm not one that's willing to take it right back into a support area when we have wider BBs. We've seen some divergences. We do expect it to go down, but to me, it's short. It could be short-lived.
Yeah, and that's the thing, we all have our own preferred style of trading. I think very few people are really great at all styles of trading this market. When I say styles, I mean preferences, really, in terms of are you a counter trend trader? Are you a trend trader? Do you prefer trading in consolidations, or quiet markets, highly volatile markets? We've all got our kind of niche, that we prefer a little bit. And those type of trades that Cesar's taking, this is the right environment to do that, because it's so strong to the downside that, it's likely that they will continue. And so it's about, you need to have really good timing. And at some point, just from what I'm seeing now, a lot of you maybe are not aware of this, but one observation to point out here is that price will always retrace back to the EMAs. Okay, that's a fact of price action. So at some point we're going to get what we call a snapback opportunity. Okay, and they tend to be one of my favorite opportunities in the market, where price will at some point turn around and pull all the way back to this EMA or even further. And when it does do, it can be really strong. And there's a load of reasons behind that. If you study trading fundamentals and the way institutions work, right, in terms of how they wash out retailer traders. Another class for another session, that one. But you definitely don't want to. We don't want to go down that road now, but I'll be here all day. But
well, Cesar, was I right though? Would you have taken that trade?
In the 1597 that you were saying, yes, probably.
Yeah.
I will have to.
Remember that one?
I will have to. Can you see my pointer?
Yep, you're good.
Okay. Yeah, what I do usually is look first at the bigger picture and see where the trend is going. Yeah, the strength, where it's going, and then move down to the smaller charts so I can see where will be a good entry. Because if we only look at these 233, we can see here we have a potential. Well, we didn't have a divergence because the MACDs overran the previous pivot. But if we look at the 10946, it's just going one direction. It's just going down. So we will have to be patient to see where the potential for the entry is in the smaller chart. But before, we have to look at the overall trend and see where we'll, and check if we are correct to take a trade in any of these spaces. Because right now we can see in the three charts, they are all changing direction. They are all going to the upside. But
great, beautiful reversal bar right at that support area. That's
Yeah,
what I'm saying.
look at that. I mean, it's
It's
off
getting
of
too
the.
close to the
Mhm.
support area for me to feel comfortable, but we could see that it still had the momentum to push down there.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah,
quick,
in this
says,
in just to finish the
oh,
idea,
okay, go ahead.
uh, we may think that it's going to change direction right now, but we have to be aware of, like I said, this is still continuing to the downside, and this is just a couple of BBs that is pointing to the upside. So we don't have to be. If we see this in the live market, we don't have to jump and take a long in this area just because we saw a big push to the upside. We still have to be careful where we take these
Mhm.
entries, and because we still see a lot of strength, and we're still below the zero line, at least in this big picture.
Yeah.
So we will have to confirm and wait for more information just to see.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Because something that I look for when that happens is, we move to this opposite side and tentative price snap back up to the EMA and made a move above and pull back to the EMA, I would take along. And I think what you're saying, like if it pulls back above the bigger EMA, I'm not sure, but that is a thought process that I have as well, right? But you have to be careful if you're talking about like right in here. So it's pulling back up and it's snapping back into the EMA, but that doesn't necessarily mean we're going to see it push up from there. Even if it gets back above here, that doesn't necessarily mean it, but that is what we're looking for. And the fact that we're looking for it to pull back into an area, show weakness whenever it pulls back, and then look for divergences or something like that. But it's really hard to fight these strong trends. And the long that happened here with this tiny little reversal bar, the BB's getting weak and inside, it was definitely anticipated to move to the upside. But what I'd be looking for now is, are we going to pull back down here and make some divergence? I mean, just looking at the strength of the MACDs coming down right now, we may see this push down a little bit further, but it's always pulling back and retesting those areas. So, just paying attention to those kind of things, knowing that we have a strong trend to the downside makes it very hard to take longs and expect them to go very far. So, Tim, just quick question. When you were saying pull back to the EMA, were you talking about pulling back to like this yellow EMA? Were you talking about getting back above the bigger ones and pulling back? I'm just curious on what your thought process was there. Maybe he stepped away. I don't know. Maybe he's trading right now.
Where price snapped back to the EMA and made a move above the EMA and then pulled back. I'm assuming off of the yellow.
Yeah.
Fast EMA, you would then look at support opportunity to the upside.
Just me.
For me, I'm not a fan of trading inside EMAs. I don't trade within EMAs, and that's because if you analyze price action, you can see a lot of indecision and volatility within EMAs. So I trade to the EMAs, take profit, maybe hold for more, or I wait for an opportunity like this where we get this continuation to the downside and I want to see, okay, it says we're going down here, right? We've put in a pivot, we've put in a push, quite strong push to the upside. How strong or how weak is this continuation? Am I on the charts at the moment?
Oh, no, click on there.
no.
Yeah.
You got to ask for it. Are you
Just
going to
continue in here, right?
Yeah,
So
there
when
you go.
we get this pushback. So, we mentioned
click on the
that.
screen. Click on the
Yeah.
screen first. There you go. You're good now.
So we mentioned, that we were paying attention to the color change here, that this might be a potential bottom, right? Or a potential, at least temporarily turn in the market, right? For a snapback. And we got a decent move, but you didn't even really get, depending on how you trade, you didn't really get an opportunity to even get in that realistically in that move to the upside, right?
Correct.
So, and I like to wait for the pullback, right? Because this waiting for the pullback rather than jumping in allows me to see how strong the continuation is. Is it strong or is it fading out? And if it's fading, then I might be looking for that ABC move to the upside, right? Some people might be familiar with that concept. Markets often move in waves like that. You know, you got your first pivot.
I haven't
your
thought
second
about that
pivot.
in a long time, the ABC
Yeah.
move.
Yeah, so the ABC move, right? So, or it can be an ABCD, can be a complex one.
Mhm.
I'll often wait in a strong market like this. It's all about, you know, if you're going to go in the opposite direction, you really need to have a good understanding on the total environment of what's going on across all time frames and where those key areas are to potentially, you know, be an area for exhaustion to this downside. So I'd struggle really now saying anything without even looking at the 28,657 to see what that's doing, because the MACDs are key on there as well. So I like to know, you know, the key support resistance zones. We can see we've got a line marked here, which is a pivot area, but I don't know how key it is. Is it really significant? There are other things that, you know, you can put into that as well, analysis. So yeah, for me, the trend is so strong. You are trading against a falling knife if you are taking longs at the moment. It's not to say you can't do it, because I do it all the time, but you need to know it's a more advanced skill set, right?
It will be more for like a short period of time, because we
Yeah,
can
you're in, you're out.
look at-
First sign of any weakness in that
Yeah.
move to the upside, you're out. So if you manage to get in here, you know, the first reversal or the first bar that doesn't close high, or as soon as I saw those BBs starting to move to the inside, I'm out. Or because I'm trading multiple contracts, I have the flexibility to take profits along the way and then have a trailer in there trailing my stop behind each last pivot in order to allow it to run to its maximum potential. Because often this can be the best opportunity to be in, right? Because in my mindset, the earlier I'm into the move, the safer it is, right? But not this first move, right? I want to see the pullback, and then when I see some weakness here, I might be in this one to continue, and that could well be the bottom, and it often is, you know, the turning point in the market, which gives you massive return on investment potential, and allows you that safety net, you know, where you're in so early that you can hold and hold and hold and let it run and just, you know, it all depends. But in every day, every chart, every run and retracement is different. So that's why we are discretionary price action traders and not mechanical. We don't just have a system that says, oh, when you see pullback or when you see a bar, do this, and when the MACDs do this, and when it starts to move, you need to enter the market, because that's not going to work across all environments. This is a particularly strong price action, a particularly strong market. It's volatile. You can tell it's volatile by just the size of the bars and how fast they're moving. This is not your average. I would wonder what the volatility index is right now. It's probably above 20 on this. For those of you that don't know about that, that's the VIX index that tells you what the volatility of the market environment is. When it's this volatile, you need to be really sharp when you're managing low risk like we do. So I trade with a maximum of 2 points stop loss, and you can see 2 points here is, you know, it's pretty much just 1 or 2 bars, right? So your accuracy has to be bang on, and it takes time to build up that ability, and then obviously, you know, put all of the pieces of the puzzle together here, what's going on. But I think we're definitely breaking out. We might see a little pop here just to a bit of trader cheese, just to get the retailers sucked into this long move, and then, you know, snap down, wash them all out. Hard to say without seeing the higher time frame. Not sure where we are in the bigger picture.
I'll show you in just a sec.
Yeah.
I wanted to mention something that you were saying about this pullback and getting inside of the EMAs and seeing the first slowdown. Something that really does help me on that is what's going on my 233. When I'm seeing this and I'm trying to determine whether or not it's going to slow down or not, I'm looking at my 233 and what's happening with the MACDs and the price action. And when these MACDs start to cross that bottom Bollinger Band and can't get back above there, that tells me it's time to get out, because it may not go completely down at that time, but it's going to pull back enough that it's going to eat into a lot of my profits. So I'm either moving my risk up, or I'm getting out and just waiting for the next opportunity. And by the time you're thinking, okay, maybe it's going to push up here again, we're already seeing the strength start to pick up to the downside, and the strength that remained to the downside here on the 10,946. Let me pull over the 28,657 so we can look. This was something I actually did want to mention too, because we were talking about being at that bottom Bollinger Band and the potential for divergence. Well, we can see that potential for divergence has gone away, right? Because now the BBs have come down and equaled that previous pivot point. Doesn't mean that it won't turn around. It could still do that, but we've got that potential for divergence left. And we're creating more, but the thing is, we're creating more and more space from these EMAs. And as Jason said earlier, we always come back to the EMAs. So we do expect a pretty significant snapback towards the EMAs at some time. So.
Yeah. Can you just scale that in a bit so I can just see a bit more to the left of that chart, see what significant areas we're approaching on that? Okay.
Like
yeah. So if you look at that now, where we are, where we're around 42.64 there. If I just grab control of this, if I may.
Yep.
You can
Just
see
click on
yeah. So just getting remote
I don't think you
control
have
here.
control. Okay, you got control now. You just need to click. There you go.
Yeah.
You're good.
See them getting a little bit. So, we always look to the hard left. Okay. It's really important looking to what has happened in the past, on a higher time frame or even on a regular trading time frame. But I'm really interested in these areas here, right? So you just look at how much trading has been going on in these areas, right? This is a significant areas with a lot of transactions going on, a lot of volatility. With particularly this line here where we are potentially might make it down to 42.60 area, right? That's where most of that price action is happening. So with this much strength and what we call a parabolic move, this is a parabolic move. So when you've got a move that goes straight down like that, it's parabolic, like this one's parabolic. When you get down to this area here, then I'm thinking about, okay, is this going to hold and is there potential for a long? But, if you really want to stay on the right side of the market in this type of environment, unless you're extremely proficient at counter trend trading, because you're just gonna get run over in this type of environment. So I expect to move down here. It's a major retest, and potentially break in this area. So maybe we're going to get a nice rejection off of here, and we can be considering a long.
You've been expecting it to go down more, anyways, though, right?
Yeah, and it's just there's no let up on here. I mean, if you just look at that tiny little retracement here, apart from that big one, this is the opportunity right here where we had a lot of buying going on. This was the opportunity for the price action to turn around and start pushing up, taking out some of these stop positions, right? And it didn't happen. It just went straight down. So for me, if it doesn't want to go up, it means it wants to go down, right? Keep it simple like that. And there was no better opportunity here. We had a V-shaped reaction, massive move, pullback. We should have been looking to extend here and start taking out all of these stop losses on the retail positions, and it didn't happen. Interesting now, though, slightly different. This is more of what I'm looking at. I like looking at. Okay, so let's just take a quick look at, if I may now, guys, just take over control here anytime you want. If you want to kick me off, because I'll just go on and on and on. I really like what I'm seeing here on the 10.
Well, just so you know, we've got about 10 minutes left of class.
Yeah, so I'll keep this quick. What I'm seeing here right now is a snapback opportunity on the MACDs into the 10,946. These you can see the strong move up, weak retracement. That's this move down. We got potential reversal pattern. This is trying to snap back inside. Follow that up with retracement divergence here. This is a move I'm already in. I'm in this move to the upside. Just put it out there. I might get washed out, but that's the high probability. Strong move, really shallow pullback. Take profits around here, here, and here if you've got multiple contracts, but not for long. I'm managing this aggressively. So trailing my stops in right here, and then probably out the trade on the first pullback, because it's dangerous. You're trading against massive strength, but that is the kind of opportunity you're waiting for. And this is, once you learn what to look for, you're much more likely to be patient about it. So it's all about screen time. It's all about becoming really proficient at mastering patterns and understanding these. It's
Well,
not something
also it's timing too, because, one thing I want to mention is like right in here, if you're getting in, you don't want, if you're getting in and you're pulling the trigger somewhere up in here, you're putting a lot more risk on yourself because we're putting the stop where we don't want the market to go. So it would be right behind here, right? So if you're not getting in one of these few bars right here, then you're getting in closer and closer to the area that we expect to at least give a bounce. It doesn't mean that it's pull it all the way back, but that's an area we anticipate to at the very least give us a bounce. And you see it's held up the party just a little bit.
Consolidating now. It's got really good potential, this one, to push up a bit more, but maybe not. You've got a ton of strength. But like I say, I like to get in these positions earlier because it keeps me safe. I can hide my stop down here and be quickly out the market if I'm wrong, which we often we are wrong. So we just need to be right more times than we're wrong, right? We will be wrong. That's a fact of trading, every trader. What else really in terms of this? Yeah, I did mention that I expect, just from my experience of these patterns, that this will wash out this area here and then potentially snap back in. So this would be the trader cheese, what we say, encouraging people to breakout traders, right? Once this area broke, a lot of inexperienced people would have jumped in this because they saw that pivot broken. And that's when you see the institutions jump back in and start washing us all out. I love to be on the right side of the market. And, that's with institutions. So I will end it there. Thank you very much.
Well, and that's another situation too, where you see the MACDs on the 233 give that signal when it's crossing that bottom Bollinger Band. Jason G masterclass. And that gave me the,
by the way, I'm out already, obviously.
Yeah. It gave me the indication that while we're pulling up in here, even though, the blue BBs were still up, we're still at the zero line. We're still in an area that we anticipate to give us a bounce down, and we still have a ton of strength coming at this. So, the right thing to do in these kind of situations is to go with the trend, to move to the downside. But one of the great things about what we do is you can take the pull back up to the area. And if you have enough cojones, you can turn around and take it to the downside. I don't have that. I'm like, okay, I'm out. Let me take a break for a minute. Let's wait for the next one. Have I traded like that before? Yes, but it is a little bit stressful at times.
This does have you on real high alert. Extreme focus is required. And you've got to be ready to get out of that position the first sign of trouble. So this looks like it's trying to push up again. So at least for a little bit, right? Expectation.
We're right there support. We've got room to travel back to the area. I do want to give Cesar a moment to let him give us a little bit of his insight. And then we'll probably be wrapping it up very soon here.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I wanted to speak because I have this cough that is not letting me.
I see you coughing over there, so I hope you're okay.
Okay, so what we were saying before, this has a lot of strength to the downside. We don't have any opportunity because it's going just in one direction. What I would recommend is wait for the slowdown like we are seeing right now. Now we can see that the price is making support and resistance. Let me.
Yeah, you can take over.
Okay. So now we can see where the price are making the pivots, so we can take better decisions now. Now we can see that the price is slowing down. We can see where the potential for a turn is going to be, like around this area or this area. This is how I like to trade when I see that the price is making bounces in the support and resistance. I like to mark those areas. And then if I have a chance to take a divergence, I will take it. Or if I see that the price is breaking that area, I will take a breakout and a continuation. So what I want to advise to everyone that is watching is if you see that the price is just going one direction, just be patient, hold on, wait for the price to make a stop. And now that you see these areas very well defined, like this support and resistance, now you can analyze the market better, and you
Yeah.
can make better decisions instead of just uh, trying to get in the wave. And probably if we were trying to take a short around here, and then we see this big retracement, we will be out at this moment.
Yeah.
So just an advice, wait for these areas like this in the 1597 and in the 233, where you can take more secure trade,
Yeah.
and when you have more information in the smaller chart. Because when we see the big charts, yes, they can tell us a lot of information, but we do not trade in these charts. We trade in the small charts.
Yeah.
So this is going to help us to see where the direction is going, but this is going to help us to where to take the trade and be more have more percentage of certainty
Yeah.
of what we're doing is right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely agree with that. Some really good points as well. Like definitely don't get caught up in the noise of the market. You want to see, you don't want to start imagining things, like you're seeing pivots here and there. You want to wait for the clearly defined pivots to give you that better understanding of what's going on. A lot of what's happening in between here is just noise in the market. We've got one pivot in here. We'll see what the next one looks like. But yeah, sometimes we can, just start imagining we're seeing things and wish the market to go in our direction, and it's doesn't work like that. You need to have a clear understanding. If you're not sure what you're looking at, you should be sitting on the sidelines waiting for more information to give you that clear understanding. That's the skill. That's a skill in itself. Sitting on your hands, waiting for some clarity on what's going on, and if that means you miss out the odd, snap here and run a retracement here and there's thousands of them. There's endless. You don't need to worry about what you miss out on. You just need to have that. No hopium. You don't want that.
Yeah, I was like, what?
That's a good one.
I said hopium, and Andrew's like hopium. I was like, oh yes.
Yeah, the market doesn't give two hoots. Watching my language, of what you think or what you want the market to do. It doesn't care. It's it's a beast, and it's running on its own. It doesn't. We're not impacting the market. We're too small for that. Institutions are doing all of that. So that's something that takes a bit of time to get used to, but be patient with it.
Yes, definitely. All right, guys, we're going to wrap that up. And thank you guys for participating. And Alejandro says, I love seeing the point of view of all of you when analyzing the market, each one providing important details. And you know what? We all see something a little bit different. And I've said it once, I'll say it a million times. My job is not to teach you to trade like me. My job is to teach you to trade like you. And that may mean that you have more confidence to take a trade that I don't. And there may be things as much as just, I'm not paying attention. I'm not feeling confident that it's going to push down at that point, even though I see it happening. And, someone else may take that trade when I don't, or I may be looking for the long, you're looking for the short. We're both right, because I'm looking for the pullback and you're looking for the continuation. So, you know, and you have all this information through the course of what the reversal bars look like, what the areas we're looking for bounces, what our support and resistance looks like, what we expect out of the MACDs. So, you know, it's very doable to be able to understand and analyze the market and trade the market in this way. It just takes a little time going through.
So just want to put a quick reminder out to you guys. So some of you that are new to responsible day trading, you can head over to our website if you're new to trading in general and you want to get started, or you want to learn some more information, and download the beginner's guide. You just got to put your email in there and you'll receive 3 different copies of or 3 different issues of the beginner's guide, which is quite a thorough, quite comprehensive introduction to futures markets. So if you'd like to learn more, head on over there and get that. Yeah, and there's also all other great stuff to look at on the website as well.
It's got a lot of great information for people who are not just beginners too. So the very beginning of it, of course, covers, you know, what are E-minis, what are futures, a lot of stuff that we covered in the class the other day. But there's more than just that in there. So, and Jason did a lot of amazing work on that. So, I would suggest that you go show it.
I think we need to change the name, actually. I mean, I don't think it's a beginner's guide anymore. It started off as a beginner's guide.
It really did, but
intermediate and almost, you know, some advanced concepts in there, money management, you know, all of that kind of stuff in there.
It should just be a guide, you know,
which you could argue is a beginner's concept, should be a beginner's concept, because many trading organizations don't even touch money management. And for me, that's a beginner's concept, right? It should be, but it's not. It's often left until people move well into their trading career before even thinking about managing money, right? And as somebody mentioned yesterday, I'm not sure who it was, in the other class, you need to approach, it's Cesar, right? You need to approach trading as a business, and every business you have to manage your money, right? Or you won't have any business in a very short time. So that's an important thing to not overlook. If you're going to be serious about becoming a day trader, you have to run it like a business, manage your money. Got a couple of questions coming in.
Yeah. First thing I want to say, though, is I know we just had some people just show up. We are coming to the end of the class. We're running over a little bit, but I'm okay with that if y'all are. But you can go back and watch the live on YouTube or one of our Facebooks or one of our groups to see this whole class. And
Dennis has got a good question. Yeah.
So what can you tell about having good focus and when you have a lot of things in your head? I believe it's different for everybody, first off, but if you are really struggling to stay focused in the market, then you need to step away and do something else for the day, or just, you know, work on some lessons. I do suggest things like meditation, but really the best way I can put it is being responsible and allowing yourself to just be focused on the market while you're there. And if you cannot stay focused, then to step away.
Yeah.
That's my advice.
There are a few. Sorry. No, continue.
Yeah. Please. One thing that I would suggest is that if you already know that you have something going on in your life, or you have a lot of things in your head, you have to be responsible and say, okay, now I can identify that I'm not thinking straight, that I'm not focused on this. So the better thing to do is just close your computer, take a breath, think about something else, clear your mind. And when you are feeling that you are in the zone to trade, then you can go back, because you know when you are ready for this and when you are not feeling right to do this. So just be honest with yourself. If you know that you are not in your best moment, just don't trade that day. There's going to be more days, and you're not going to be risking any of your capital.
Your number one focus as a new trader, so I know you're fairly new to the markets as well, or to maybe going live, your number one focus is survival. That's it, right? That's all you should be concerned with. And capital preservation, right? You need to make sure that you're looking after your account and doing whatever you can to maximize performance and minimize, the poor performance. So you have to be quite introspective and you have to be quite mindful of yourself. It takes time, something I really struggled with. I wanted to trade regardless how I felt. I could be, I've got to get on a train in 15 minutes and I want to get a quick trade in, that doesn't work in the long run. I mean,
You're going to force that trade. If
yeah,
it's not
so
there.
you're going to force it, and I really had to create some rules, like I close my door and I won't be distracted while I'm trading. And if my phones go on silent, I don't have Google open, I don't have any social media open. If I'm not feeling well, hungover, tired, stressed, my head's full of other stuff, then I'm not trading. And I'll give you a little tip. One thing I've done to help me really focus, because trading is a high performance activity, right? I've no doubt about it. You need to have intense focus, which is why we don't, the way we trade in this style of trading, price action, market analysis, live price action trading, it's an intense activity and you need to have intense focus. And most people can't really focus for more than 20 minutes at a time, an hour maximum in a day, without taking a break of some sort, like mini breaks. So that's what I would recommend. Take those regular mini breaks. And for me, Lindsay likes meditation. For me, I like playing. I've got my trader playlist. I've got my headphones go on. I've got my ambient music vibes, and it helps me zone into the market, right? And that's something I find that works for me. You'll find what works for you. Just find something that allows you to focus.
Yeah, I agree with that. And, whatever works for you best is definitely, just because I prefer meditation doesn't mean that's what works for you. Like Cesar, it's into his heavy metal music.
Yeah. That's what keeps my mind and focused.
Yeah. And they also have this study that they say something about, was it like every 30 minutes you should look away from your screen for at least 30 seconds, I think is what it is. To give your eyes a break, to give your brain a break. So
I used to set my alarm clock.
Wants me to translate what he said. Mentors that had gave results and now they are transmitting experiences.
Yes.
I also, if it depends on, everyone's got different concentration levels, right? If you find that it's exhausting as well, right? And in this type of market environment, for me, it's relaxing day to watch, but when it's slow and grindy and it's not going anywhere and all you see is, small price action, it can be exhausting, right? So maybe set an alarm clock every 15 minutes, every 30 minutes to tell you to walk away for 5 minutes from the screen, for 2 minutes. Just clear your head, look at what you've been doing. There's so many things. And you can reach out to us if you want some more tips like that, and we can help you,
Absolutely. All right, guys, we have overrun by a little bit, but I really appreciate everybody being here. Thank you so much.
That was fun.
Yeah, this was a good class. We do have the announcement at noon today, so in just about 2 hours.
Oh, yeah.
So I will, so I'll catch up with you guys and a little bit before then.
Exciting.
We'll be there. We're excited.
But I will definitely see y'all very soon. So
I promise.
All right, guys, thank y'all so much for being here. I hope everybody has a great day, and we'll see y'all in a couple hours.
Ciao. Take care, guys.
Bye.
Adios.